Good day, Miss. This group consists of Kafra, Stacy, and myself, Katrina, and we will be focusing on Massy Stores for the duration of this project. The needs of the organization that we identified would help with managing inventory and display, managing the transactions, and determining the strength of stock. Our initial design, we realized, was more geared towards managing of employees and departments as opposed to managing the stock itself. So we've removed a few tables, added in a few more relationships in order to create this new design, which is geared towards making it very, very easy to see how the stock is affected after every sale and or restock. The main problem we faced during the entire process was time constraints because life happened to everybody this semester.
Right, and now I will be demonstrating a few of our procedures and associated triggers. The first procedure I'll be looking at is the hours worked procedure, which is found in our employee package. This procedure was written to help the finance department easily track the weekly earnings of each employee. It's done by calculating the number of hours they work during a shift, and their salary is determined by multiplying the number of hours worked by the employee's hourly rate. That hourly rate is predefined in the jobs table. So let me run it. You would see that a list of employees comes up with the number of hours worked for the week, the hourly rate, which is based on a job, and the salary calculated. Now, this was done based on the assumption that employees are paid weekly and that the finance department will actually track which employees worked more than one shift for the week. The next procedure that I'll be looking at is the add sales procedure. Now, this procedure is also affected by a trigger. The add sales procedure is used to add a new record to the sales table, which is really meant to be automatic when a sale is made. The trigger is done after a row is added to the sale table, and this will automatically update the stock. So now to demonstrate, I'm going to show you first what the stock is like for particular items. Right, so for item ID 5030, the item quantity is 50, and for item ID 6030, the item quantity is also 50. So now we're going to run a sale, or two. Right. When we run these sales transactions, automatically these are inserted into the sales table, and after the insert, the trigger would have been executed. So let's show you in the sales table where the item 0046, the sales ID 0046 and 0047 would have been entered. Right. So you see here, this was the transaction that took place. The items were bought, and for each item, 2 of that type was bought. So now we're going to show you how the stock was affected by the trigger. So for item ID 5030, recall that the item quantity was 50 previously, and it was the same for item ID 6030. And since 2 was bought in each item, now we see that the item quantity has decreased by 2.
Okay, next.
Sorry, over to Katrina.
Okay, so next I'll be looking at the add order and order transaction procedure and trigger respectively. The add order procedure adds a new record to the orders table every time the company receives new stock from the supplier. It is meant to happen automatically. The procedure itself calls the update stock procedure from the add update package to update the expiry date of the new stock. A main limitation with our design is it only caters for batch expiries at this point in time, meaning the entire body of stock has the same expiry date, so everything is expiring all at once. The order transaction trigger fires every time a row is inserted into the orders table, and it will update the stock to reflect the old amount and the new amount together. So Kafra is just doing a quick display of the original stock. As you can see, for coffee creamer it's 50 and for the bottle opener it's 20. Now she's running orders on both items. We'll be increasing the stock by 2, and upon insertion the trigger would have fired. So when she runs this select statement again, you'll see that the stock has indeed increased to 52 and 22. The next procedure and trigger pair that I am going to be speaking about is the return sold procedure and trigger. The return sold procedure deletes a record from the sales table when an item is returned by a customer. It is meant to be done immediately after an item is returned, and the return sold trigger fires when a row is deleted from the sales table and will add the stock that was returned back to the active stock. So Kafra is just going to show you the initial stock of the items, which in this case is 48. And now she's going to run the return sold method on those 2 items. Statements process, which means the trigger is fired and the stock should go back up to 50 as 2 items was returned.
Right. So for my part is return orders and return order trigger. They go hand in hand, and these were designed with the intention of achieving the following. It will be demonstrated as I speak. The return orders deletes a row from the orders table when its stock is returned. The supplier is meant to be It is meant to be done as soon as the stock is returned. However, some limitations are: if an expiry date was updated when a new stock was added, the expiry date will not revert to the old one. However, this in the future will like to be implemented. The return order trigger fires when a row is deleted from the order table. It pulls the item quantity from the deleted rows and subtracts it from the active stock. As you can see, the statement is processed. The restockable items. This procedure is meant to take in a branch ID and then fetch all the products in that branch whose stock has dropped under 5 and print a report based on it. It should be run at least once a week. And you can see the demonstration.
I'd like to just make a note that the statement is processed and no items were returned, simply because at this point in time we have no items with a quantity under 5 in the database. And I do believe that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time.